Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Saris Bones EX trunk mounted bike rack right here on our 2018 Chevrolet Equinox. The Saris Bones EX trunk rack series is probably one of my favorite if you do have to get a trunk mounted bike rack, because if you're a cyclist, the question is, how do you get your bike from where you live to the trails? Your options for the Equinox is you could put it on the roof. Ideally, if you have a hitch, go ahead and get a hitch mounted bike rack, but sometimes you don't have a hitch, can't get a hitch. Your next best option is gonna be this trunk mounted rack. So we'll take a look at the Saris Bones EX, take a look at its features, its specs, but we'll focus on the Equinox so that you can make sure you get the best bike rack for you, your bikes, and your adventures. So you have some options too within the Saris Bones EX series. You can get the 2-bike version or the 3-bike version. I recommend just going ahead and getting the 3-bike version right away. That way you have the opportunity to carry a 3rd bike if needed. So we have one bike right up on our bike rack right now. Let's take a look at the way it's mounted. We have 3 mounting points. So 1, 2, that's gonna be for our frame, and then down here we have our anti-sway cradle. So this is a really impressive anti-sway position. Look at how there's pretty much zero sway. You are gonna have some movement for your front wheel though, so definitely use the strap that comes with this bike rack to tighten down those front wheels down. And then to show the difference that makes is I will take this 3rd strap out, and then notice how much more sway you have. When you do have 3 bikes loaded, you want to make sure that's reduced as much as you can. I'm going to go ahead and take the other straps out. So we'll press that lever, push up on the strap, 1, 2, and here's our 3rd one. Once that is released, you can then lift your bike up and through the arms. There we go, and now you're ready to go on a bike ride. Let's talk about the adjustability of those arms. So you can actually rotate them up and down depending on your bike's frame. For example, if I'm carrying a single bike and it's a women's frame and I want it to be a little bit more level, I could even move it like this. Now if you have 3 bikes on there, you may have to get a frame adapter bar. That way it's easier for you to carry your bikes, but then you can adjust it back and forth. If you have children's bikes too, you can get it where it's closer together to help out with those frames. It's all about finding the best fit for you. So with our bike off, we get to take a closer look at the straps that we're holding it in. Look at these cradles. So we have it where it's shaped. I really like the design that Saris has for their straps. You have the grips on the inside. Those go right into those clamps, and then you just pull on this to secure this around your frame. You get 1, 2, 3. That anti-sway sits right down here. So the distance apart that your bikes are gonna sit at is gonna be from cradle to cradle about 6.5 inches. So that's gonna help out with your spacing, but it is gonna add a little bit of length behind your vehicle when your bikes are on there. So let's take some measurements. I'm gonna measure over here at our bumper to the end of the rack, and it's gonna sit at about 27 inches of length. The 2-bike version is gonna be a little bit shorter, but still relatively compact. So let's talk about how this is mounted to our Equinox, and it's going to be different depending on what type of vehicle you have it on. So we have 3 sets of straps. So you have your top hooks, your side hooks, and then your lower hooks. So the top hooks go over the spoiler. You do have that lip up there, and that's where the Saris Bones EX shines, because you have this dog foot here, which helps lift that strap up over the spoiler and then secure to your vehicle. So that dog foot there has an articulated foot that sits on your glass. Please make sure to clean all the surfaces before you have your trunk rack on there. That way you don't have any dirt underneath scratching up your glass. So then this sits there. You have this running over, tighten that down, and then let's talk about these side hooks. So I ran our side hooks underneath our taillight just because we had some rubber above our taillight that I didn't want to interfere with. And then the lower hooks, I had to open up our hatch, pop those in, and then tighten it down with those on. So make sure all 3 sets are secured before you put on your bike. Now, I do not recommend leaving this bike rack on for extended period of time because you can't use your rear windshield wipers, you can't open up your hatch, but sometimes you might want it to take up less space when you are traveling, but you want to keep the bike rack on. So what you can do is you can adjust these arms down into a folded position. You'll also have it in this position when you have it stored inside your garage. So we have those rotating knobs there, so just turn those and adjust accordingly. With it in the compact position, it now only takes up from the bumper to the end of the rack about 13.5 inches. So big difference compared to when this was folded out. If you need to park in a tight spot, you're with parallel parking, or you don't have a space in your garage, you could put it on like this before you put your bikes on. So to summarize what types of bikes can be carried with this bike rack, it does have a weight capacity of 35 pounds, so obviously your extra heavy electric bikes are not going to fit with this rack. Some other additions you can get with this rack just to make your life easier is there are no locks on the rack, so you can pick up a Saris cable lock that will help secure both your bikes and your bike rack. Check out our product page for the related parts to find those. So my personal thoughts about the Saris Bones EX trunk rack is, with any trunk rack, if you can, please get a hitch mounted rack. That just gives you more stability, more options, more features, and makes it easier for you to carry your bikes around. Now, if you cannot get a hitch installed, what's the next best option when it comes to trunk racks? I personally think it's going to be the Saris Bones EX. Yes, it doesn't have integrated locks. Those are easy to add on though. I really like the design though for a trunk rack. It's very sleek. It's nice to use. Please just make sure to use it properly. Tighten down all those straps every single time you take it out for a ride. But from then on, you can carry your bikes to trail and then focus on enjoying your adventures. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action. And this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. And that was a look right here at the Saris Bones EX trunk mounted bike racks on our 2018 Chevrolet Equinox.